Good evening. I would like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for Wednesday, October 9th, 2024 to order. Would you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1C is the roll call of council members, and I will ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Here.
Here.
Councilmember Reyes. Here. Councilmember Hudson.
Here.
Councilmember Molinar.
Here.
Councilmember Tesoro.
Here.
Councilmember Vanderstoop.
Here.
Thanks, Becky. Item 2, the approval of tonight's council meeting agenda. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda, council, or are we good with this?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Councilmember Cero. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 3 is community comments, and if there is anyone in council chambers tonight who would like to address council, I would just ask that you'd please step forward, state your name and city of residence, and limit your comments about 3 to 5 minutes, if you would, please.
Hi, Ed Johnson. It's been some time. I live downtown Mount Vernon, and I'm just here tonight to again emphasize the dangers I'm seeing downtown with speeding and distracted drivers. It's just getting horrific. Now we've got skateboards that are electrified and gas operated, I don't know, moving out at 30, 40 mile an hour on sidewalks and so forth. And I've almost been hit personally about 7 to 9 times in crosswalks in downtown since I live down at the corner of Myrtle and First. I often park over by Second, since Myrtle is the one way that goes to the east. Trying to cut across that intersection there seems to be quite dubious. It's kind of, how lucky are you? But that corner there in particular. But I just noticed the other morning, and I call it in when I see something stupid. A white car was just a blur, so I know he's moving out at 40, 50 miles an hour heading north on Second. But I often see people at night driving down First Street at about the same. They'll go from Gates, which is I think it's a 2-way or 4-way, whatever, and speeding down toward Kincaid as fast as they can. And then some of them have their exhaust modified to where they back off from a high RPM, and it sounds like a damn gun shot off. Sometimes it sounds like a Gatling gun. But then there's the Harleys that come through, but it rumbles my 5th story apartment, and I'll call that in. But there was one the other night that revved his engine 7 or 8 times, and it was about, I think 11:30 at night, and I'm already in bed by 8 or 9, so that really ticked me off. But I'm just saying, we've got some things that should be addressed, and even monster cars. There's a BMW that's been parked on Myrtle Street. It's on a monster truck frame. Didn't have a license. So I'm just like, what the heck are we putting out here? I mean, these are, so many parts of illegal, modified, and so on. But anyways, I just wanted to mention it and try to find out. I can't remember when the safety meeting is. I might like to go to that as well. So at this time, and I wanted to mention the turnout for the library was a lot of fun. I saw a lot of people I hadn't seen, and then the construction effort that went on at the end of this is October. So I think it was beginning of October, or no, end of October. Was really well done at night, early mornings. They were super quiet. I couldn't believe how quiet. It's the quietest construction group I ever seen. And mind you, they're not 100%, but I'd say they're about 90%. The whatever the thing is that breaks jackhammer, they did a little at a time and try to keep it down. The downshifting of the big semis was done super quiet. Didn't hear really much, so I was impressed because it can be done. They just got to know to do it. Be quiet, be respectful of the residents downtown. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ed. Anyone else wishing to address City Council tonight? Please come on up.
Hello, Mayor, City Council, and community member. My name is Alfredo Juarez, also known as Lelo in the community. I am a farm worker. I live in Cedar Woolley right now with my parents, and I'm a very active member in our community. I spoke at the last City Council meeting about H2A program and the Casa Grande. Today, today I received a follow-up about Casa Grande by the special project manager, so thank you for that. And I will be reaching out again. I wanted to read a news release that came out October 8th to you guys about the H-2A program, and it says, the U.S. Department of Labor has debarred a Kennewick farm labor contractor from participating in the H-2A temporary agriculture worker program for 3 years and finding the employer provided workers with unhealthy living conditions, transported them in unsafe vehicle driven by people without license or proper permits, withheld wages, and made illegal pay deductions, told workers to falsify documents to mass violation of federal regulations, and deny U.S. workers access to jobs. As I mentioned in my last public comment, I and many community members are interested in getting the H-2A program onto your study session. If someone can reach out about the steps to take to get that item onto your council study session, that would be great. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Alfredo. Council, if you wanted to do a committee request also, we could get that in sometime. Anyone else? Hello, Suzanne.
Hi. Hi, y'all. Saw you not few, a couple weeks ago. It was wonderful. I'm Suzanne Butler and I live on 9th Street in Mount Vernon. And I've been really puzzled about something that happened a few months ago. And that is the Casa Grande transaction, whatever happened. We lost Gabe? I don't know. I know that you people don't engage in those transactions. It's none of your business, except kind of is. We lost 32 units of low-income housing in one swell swoop. I mean, that's a lot given, I mean, those seem like the most premium things that we need as a city right now is low-income units. And they went to a group that's supporting transient people who, I don't know, somehow I don't feel as responsible to as I feel responsible to people who live here. I personally know one person who was displaced. He's a city worker. He's a part-time city worker. We don't want to be La Conner where people who work here can't afford to live. There were 2 single mothers with kids, some medium-sized kids and some bigger kids, and they had a heck of a time finding. One had to go home and live with her parents, with her kids, and the other one just had the usual hard time of finding affordable housing. I guess I'm just asking you to explore that and maybe find ways that doesn't have to happen, that there are some barriers that can legally and compassionately and nicely be set up. Because I really feel like we need to cherish our low-income housing. That's low-income housing there. And it was decent enough housing. And so I ask your help with that.
Thank you.
Susan.
Anyone else want to speak tonight? Okay, we will move on the agenda. Item 4 is tonight's consent agenda, and it includes meeting minutes, payroll checks, wire transfers, and claims. Council, would you like to move for adoption of the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Andrew. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, the consent agenda is approved. Item 5 is committee reports, and for committee reports tonight, council held their Public Works and Library meeting at 6 p.m. here in council chambers this evening. And Councilmember Gary Molinar is the chair, and he's going to give us a recap. Gary.
Okay, we opened up the meeting tonight at 6 o'clock, and after the approval of the September 11 minutes, Blaine Chesterfield, our surface water utility and flood division, gave a little update on the Skagit Conservation District and their education outreach overview. He provided an overview and talked about how this program assists with the city's education and outreach requirements, which are mandated as part of a municipal stormwater permit. A new agreement with the Skagit County Conservation District will be brought to City Council for approval within the next couple of months. He then also gave us a little update on the weather since flood season's coming up. It sounds like we are going to be moving into a La Nina weather pattern, which will strengthen over the fall and winter months. This could bring below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation. And this will also increase the likelihood of snow in the winter months. Next, we had Frank Reinhardt, our engineering services. We're going to have an amendment to the Transportation Improvement Program. That's the TIP, which you'll be hearing in just a second many times. There's a need to change the project timing in the TIP for both projects to respond to current and emergent funding opportunities. This plan amendment adoption schedule will be October 30th, November 13th, November 27th. We will have a regular city council meeting and recommend formal adoption of the amendment. And then early January, regional TIP amendment specific to Blackburn Road extension. Responded to the emergent opportunity to work with our city federal legislative lobbying team to pursue a federal appropriations during the 2025 for complete design. Also, we will be looking into the Colston Street safety lighting that's on the trail. That will be phase 3, and the city already awarded federal funding for design preliminary engineering through SCOG for this project. We will review potential need for budget amendments in early 2025 for matching funds for that. And then combined sewer separation feasibility study. Summary of the goals would be working with Wilson Engineering LLC, and they will recommend at the October 23 City Council meeting. Also, then we moved into Isaac, our librarian, and he told us about the ribbon cutting that we had a couple weeks ago, how awesome it was to see upwards of 1,000 people there. And there were 187 cars that actually parked in the garage. For those that were there, it was a really perfect day, and the weather cooperated. So we're looking at a soft opening for the library on October 21st. And the garage probably will be open at the beginning of November due to some issues with some of the charters, which is getting taken care of. There was also, Isaac talked about security. We're planning on having some security after hours in that parking garage in case there's events that are going on in downtown Mount Vernon into the night. And we'll close the meeting at 6:50.
Thank you, Gary. Last Wednesday evening, there was a Public Safety Committee meeting, and Councilmember Melissa Beaton chairs that committee, and she's here to give a report on it. Melissa.
Thank you, Mayor. We called the meeting to order at 6 p.m. and after we approved the minutes, council was briefed on the North River Commercial Neighborhood. So the city has 14 neighborhoods for policing, and so this is the commercial area surrounding Walmart, Lowe's, kind of dips down to Lions Park, swings its way back up, covers the Safeway area, little south of College Way, north to the river, and east out past Urban Avenue. So Sergeant Cohen presented our service call, or their service call statistics for 2023 and year-to-date 2024. Police staff have partnered with volunteers from the Recovery Cafe and Walmart to assist with trash removal in the area. They've had 9 neighborhood cleanups and removed approximately 60 yards of trash. The graffiti prevention program has been working to clean up graffiti surrounding the Riverside Bridge. The department has a program that swaps graffiti for art, and I think a lot of our area local students in the school district volunteer for that, and so some of the art that you have seen around town is their handiwork, and it's pretty cool. Let's see, the department also offers business CPTED security reviews. CPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. So think your landscape trimmed up, increasing lighting around your business, and looking at other security measures just to keep people just to stay away. We got a review of some community education programs, and bad actors in that neighborhood can be trespassed from businesses. Then Aaron Von Femp presented us with an update to the department's iOS program. It takes time to build trust with persons in distress, and so they're doing that. She shared a few client success stories. And in the works, in the future, they're working on partnering with the fire department to share an ARNP. That's a registered nurse that is with the fire department, and iOS that would allow them to write prescriptions to help those people immediately, because it takes time to get them services. Let's see here. And also 911 dispatch center will begin dispatching iOS calls directly to iOS, certain calls. And then Mayor Donovan provided an update about the recent termination of a contract between the North Star organization and a contractor. And Chief Chrisman provided information about a recent drive-by shooting. Then, because it's public safety, finance gave us an update. As we begin our budget discussions, our finance director, Doug Bileski, reviewed the city's revenue policies, the 2025 budget calendar, and presented the 2025 estimated revenues. Revenue sources include taxes, licenses and permits, intergovernmental services, charges for services, and fines and forfeitures. Property sales and real estate excise tax distributions were also reviewed. On committee agenda requests, we didn't have any specific agenda requests, but on October 16th, our Development Services Committee will meet at 5 as opposed to 6. And then on October 30th, Council will have a special joint meeting with our Planning Commission as we further our comp plan work. And then under miscellaneous, we talked briefly about tenant protections, and our city attorney, Kevin Rogerson, will provide additional information at a future meeting. Kevin also presented a draft agreement for our 1590 recipients. We discussed edits that will be incorporated, and agreements will be presented to us at a later date, and we adjourned at 8:07.
Thank you, Melissa. Council, item 5B is council member comments. Anything goes, it's your time. What's on your mind? Council member Hudson.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to kind of tag on to what Ed said about the traffic in downtown Mount Vernon. I drive in downtown Mount Vernon because I work down there. So I'm on First Street a lot and Second Street. And I drive pretty slowly and cautiously because that's the way I was taught. But I have to say that I would like to reach out to the pedestrians down there, because I also am a person who, when I'm crossing the street, I stop and make eye contact with the cars that are coming in both directions, so I know they see me. And I have had people actually just step off onto the pedestrian path and just walk, not with their phone generally, but they're not paying attention. So it kind of goes both ways. Yes, people need to slow down and pay attention, but please, as a pedestrian, help you not get hit because nobody wants that. So, yeah, that's, I just wanted to add that.
Thanks, Mary. That wasn't you on the Harley, was it?
It was not.
Someone was too loud with their.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Other council member comments? Did you have something?
I was just wondering if the rest of council's interested in opening up a study session. I would be very much interested. So if you want to wait for another time to talk about this, that's fine, but this is fine now. if we can get 4 people who are interested.
Were you talking about the H2A and?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the committee agenda request portion of the meeting. That's where I was waiting for that too. So I'm with you 100%.
We can do it now since it's out. Do you want to add that to a future committee? And when? December might be a good time. I don't, just given budget.
Yeah.
I have a logistic question.
Yeah.
So, just kind of depends on how we want to go about this. If it is a committee request, are we going to be asking people in this space to come and present to us? Is that what we're imagining, or is this going to be more of a staff going and researching and presenting?
It would likely be the agency that owns it. Is it WAFLA?
Waffle.
They've offered to present information. We can have others present as well. It's your committee and you can drive the agenda for it.
I think it would be important to me to have multiple people, maybe not on the same night, but multiple groups come and talk to us.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Maybe we could do like a scaled down WAFLA presentation and also a presentation about the H2A program so that we have, both of those pieces to kind of digest. And then maybe later we could go into a more deep dive. Because then, and when we talk about, like Suzanne was talking about the affordable housing or the loss of the affordable housing, to me, that works into the comp plan. That's a definite comp plan issue that kind of fits right into what we're going to be working on a lot. So that's just the thought.
Oh, 100%.
Nods, thumbs up, generally approved. So maybe WAFLA and H2A program overview sometime in December at a committee. Okay, sounds good. Other council member comments or, yeah.
And just building on that, I'd ask Mr. Juarez if he could share that press release that you read with the council. I think it's council@mountvernon.gov.
Yeah.
And then just as Mary had said, I'd brought up the idea of displacement policies in their countywide planning policies context. And then Mary had thoughtfully asked me, well, what is your vision on that? What do you mean when you're thinking about that? And I don't have a full answer on that, but I do think that some of the things that we should talk about if it's not in the countywide planning policies, but in our own comp plan is, how we consider and mitigate the loss of unique assets, as Suzanne said, of affordable housing, because it is so rare here. And so certain displacement policies might be, relocation expenses. And we've already talked about first rights of refusal for mobile home parks. But maybe that's the case too for most affordable housing. So I think there's a range of ideas that we could talk about. Some of them may be not right for us, and some of them may be. And so I would assume that could get into a Development Services Committee agenda as we go through the comp plan. And the H2A thing fits in there really, really well, although it's kind of a narrower topic.
So sort of affordable housing protection actions that maybe we could take. Okay. All right. Other council member comments? Well, then I'll talk. Mayor's report is next, item 5C. And first slide for mayor's report is an invitation. It's an invitation to come to a ribbon cutting, another ribbon cutting next Saturday, October 19th at 10 a.m. We'll be inviting you, our community, to attend an open house and a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new and improved Fire Station 2, which is the fire station at 1901 North LaVenture Road, which is across LaVenture Road from Skagit Valley College. The city has made some additions to Fire Station 2 to allow for our department to eventually expand and to serve our growing population. So we hope to see you there at 10 a.m. next Saturday, the 19th, not this Saturday, but the following. On the next slide, finally, the City of Mount Vernon's annual Veterans Food Drive is going on right now through November 11th, through Veterans Day. We're collecting donations of non-perishable food and household goods All of those donations will be distributed to veterans through Skagit Vets Connect. And you can bring your donations to either Mount Vernon City Hall or to the Parks Admin Office. The Parks Admin Office is at Hillcrest Park. You can also drop those off at participating grocery stores in town and churches as well throughout the city. So would ask for your support on that, and that is your mayor's report for October 9th. Item D is committee agenda requests. We have the one agenda request already on there. Are there any other requests from council for future agendas? We're pretty full for a while, but let me know if you want to add anything. Item 6 on the agenda tonight is new business, and under new business, item A is a public hearing and approval of an ordinance for off-street parking regulations. And Development Services Director Stacy Pratchner is here to introduce the item and open the public hearing. Hi, Stacy.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. So tonight is the 60-day public hearing for the City Council to accept public testimony, to deliberate, and if it's the council's pleasure, to make a motion concerning a suite of interim regulations to update parking regulations here in the city of Mount Vernon. So council will recall that at the end of 2023, this body declared a housing emergency in this city. And this declaration then facilitated the interim adoption in August of this year of the parking regulations that are under review this evening. Council also recall that we've adopted interim regulations and recently held a public hearing, 60-day public hearing as well, for updates to our accessory dwelling unit regulations. So you'll see the recitals in the draft ordinance in front of council this evening describe that the need for reduced and modified off-street parking requirements for new homes is an urgent need to support housing development. The proposed code updates herein are intended to help reduce the cost to build new homes, thereby hopefully stimulating additional development in the city. And also, we have integrated cone changes that implement Senate Bill 6015. And council will recall that in summary, that's the recent state legislation that bans cities from requiring either garages or carports as a tool to meet minimum off-street parking requirements for new homes, along with some additional rulemaking about tandem parking, allowing tandem parking, and also allowing for some reduced parking stall sizes. So subsequent to tonight's hearing, and if it's, again, council's pleasure to approve or approve with modifications the proposed updates to the code, state law then guides us to engage in the GMA legislative rulemaking process. And you've heard me talk about this a lot over the past year and a half. So we would then begin the public participation element to get community feedback on the regulations. The city then conducts a non-project environmental review, so that's SEPA. We additionally give notice to the State Department of Commerce that we'd be updating our regulations. We go to the Planning Commission, that's the City Council's advisory body for legislative updates, where we hold a hearing. And then the regulations come back to City Council, and the City Council ultimately decides whether to adopt the regulations as permanent changes to code. So the draft ordinance, in addition to the code updates, also includes an approximate schedule that outlines when those steps in the GMA rulemaking process would take place. Approximately, if we were to adopt these as permanent regulations, we would need to be finished by July of 2025. So thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions before you open up the forum for public testimony and deliberation.
Questions for Stacy before the hearing? Not seeing any, so thank you, Stacy. With that, we will open up the open record public hearing for the off-street parking regulations ordinance. Is there anyone here wishing to address council and the public and speak on the record for this? Come on up. Please state your name and city of residence.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Kevin Moss. I live in Mount Vernon. I am here tonight thanking you for passing the emergency ordinance a few weeks ago or a few months ago, and encouraging you to confirm that vote tonight. I have been moving forward over the past few months, designing homes that fit on small lots near our downtown. And this ordinance has allowed me to have the confidence to design homes with one-car garages that allow for downstairs bedrooms. As I've said in previous testimony, downstairs bedrooms are things that people need, and They are what people, the needs of people are more important than the needs of cars. So I encourage you to continue to move ahead with aligning the city's code with the jurisdictions around us, Burlington, Anacortes, Cedar Woolley, and only requiring 2 parking spots per single-family home in our great city. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin. Anyone else wishing to address council for public comment? All right, that we will close the public hearing. And council, if you'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance, it's ordinance number 3897.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Navor, a second by Yudis. Any discussion on this tonight?
I might jump in and just kind of recognize that this is another indication of the city of Mount Vernon trying to, bring our housing policies forward and consistent with other cities in the county, and to adopt more quickly some of the requirements that are coming down the road. Another indication of, Mount Vernon is trying to add housing stock in a way that's compatible with the existing community in a thoughtful way. We still have homework to do, as recognized in the ordinance, to make sure that we're doing things thoughtfully. So stay tuned for that too.
Really quickly, I just want to say thank you, Kevin, for all of your hard work on this. Couldn't have gotten this done without you, so thank you so much.
All right. All those in favor of the motion to pass ordinance 3897, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Ordinance passes. Okay, thank you, Stacy, for your work on that and your staff's work on that as well. Item 6B is the approval of an agreement with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance, and Parks and Enrichment Director Jennifer Berner is here to present it. Hi, Jennifer.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. So I am here this evening to ask you if you would like to enter into an agreement with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. This is a landowner agreement through RCO. They're applying for a grant through RCO. And so part of their grant is then they would come in and do some volunteer work out at Little Mountain on some of our mountain biking trails. And so they do this for a variety of different locations throughout the community. And we are one of them that they try to service with this grant. And so the grant is basically giving them permission to go and do volunteer work and helping them do some of that volunteer work. So if many of you who are new maybe don't realize that they helped put in the mountain biking trails there at Little Mountain. So they are saying they're going to help maintain them. Evergreen will obtain permission from the city prior to going out and doing any work. This is a past practice that we have with them, and that has worked really well in the past. So we always ask folks if they're going to do volunteer work to submit a scope of work to us. We go through, we walk it out, we look at it, make sure it's what it needs to be before we sign off on any work happening with any volunteers out there in any of our parks. So with that, the agreement does begin November of 2025. And with that, they're applying for the grant right now, and they wouldn't get funding until 2025. But they're looking for getting those letters of agreement and all in place for their grant submittal. And it would conclude in October of 2027. So staff requests approval for the mayor to enter into a landowner agreement with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance for collaborative maintenance projects on mountain bike trails.
Any questions for Jennifer on the agreement? Any motions for Jennifer?
Would this allow Mount Vernon to host any sort of events on those trails? Is that anything that we've ever?
Not through this agreement, but it is something that we could partner with a different group to provide something. And I know that The Parks Foundation is a group that we would be looking at to maybe partner with something like that. And so I've been meeting with them and talking about different ways that the city and the Parks Foundation could work together on some projects.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion, council approve the mayor to enter into the landowner agreement with Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance.
Second.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Item 6C is the approval of an agreement with Economy Fence, and our finance director and everyone's best friend during budget season, Doug Valesky, will present this item to council. Hi, Doug.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, council members. Today I'm speaking for Director Phillips. He's off gallivanting around the world right now, so he asked me to present these for him today. So, city staff recommends that city council authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with Economy Fence Center to remove and replace the police court campus antiquated gate control system and exterior fencing in the amount of $159,344.12, which includes tax. This project was one of those that were included in ARPA that was previously approved by City Council. Economy Fence will remove and install all fencing associated with the police court campus, north and south gates, and automated gate control system. So city staff recommends City Council authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Highland Pavement Maintenance in the amount of $159,344.12, which includes tax.
Not Doug's agreement, but go ahead and grill him, council.
Yeah.
Any questions for Doug or Chris?
I don't have any questions. We all know fencing isn't cheap, and this bid shows that, but I am happy to see that it's a 7-foot fence and not the current 3 or 4 foot fence that we have.
A little safer.
Yeah, little safer.
Discussion or motion, council?
Okay.
moved.
Second.
Motion by Navor and a second by Melissa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. 6D is the approval of another agreement that Chris Phillips put together and asked Doug to cover for him with Highline Pavement Maintenance. Doug, what do we got?
Thank you. Again, this is kind of associated with the past one. So city staff recommends City Council motion to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with Highland Pavement Maintenance to remove and replace all paving and install required bollards to facilitate a smooth transition when the antiquated gate control system are removed and replaced in the amount of $51,265.25. This project is also funded and previously approved by the City Council. Paving work is required at the north gate assembly that will require removing pavement curbing and bollards associated with the current gate system and replacing it with pavement and bollards that meet the new gate's design specifications. This pavement preservation work is essential to the installation of the new gate system. So city staff recommends City Council authorize the mayor to enter into agreement with Highland Pavement Maintenance in the amount of $51,265.25.
Questions for Doug on the Highline Pavement Maintenance contract?
I'd move to approve a contract with Highland.
Second.
Motion by Gary and a second by Mary. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. Well done, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you. And I might want everybody to notice that I'm much faster.
Yeah, you are. Tons faster.
Thank you for the brevity, Doug.
Great job.
For item 7, I will direct our city attorney to call the mayor and city council into executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I invite the mayor and members of city council to enter into an executive session on the grounds of discussion with legal counsel, matters relating to enforcement actions, litigation, or the potential of litigation to which the city, the governing body, or any member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. When public knowledge regarding such discussions are likely to result in either adverse legal or financial consequence to the city pursuant to RCW 4230-110 subsection 1I. The executive session will be for 15 minutes. We would reconvene with no action after. 7:55.
7:55. Okay. And with that, we will adjourn the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for Wednesday, October 9th, 2024 at 7:40 PM.